The holographic projection flickered in the grand chamber of the Galactic Council, casting eerie shadows on the crystalline walls. Ambassador Helena Voss stood motionless as the verdict echoed through the vast hall, each word hitting her like a physical blow. By unanimous decision of the Seven Worlds Coalition, Earth's membership in the Galactic Council is hereby revoked. Your species has proven too aggressive, too unpredictable for civilized space. The Zephyrian Chancellor's voice carried no emotion, but Helena could see the satisfaction glinting in his compound eyes. Around the circular chamber, representatives from dozens of alien worlds nodded their approval. Only the Martian delegate looked uncomfortable, avoiding Helena's gaze. Furthermore, the Chancellor continued, his translucent wings rustling, all human colonies beyond the Sol system must be evacuated within one standard cycle. Failure to comply will result in military intervention. Helena's jaw clenched. You're condemning billions to die. The outer colonies depend on interstellar trade routes you're now blocking. That is no longer our concern, replied the Andromedan representative, her telepathic words burning cold in Helena's mind. Humanity chose violence when diplomacy was offered. The accusation stung because it held a grain of truth. The Proxima incident had been a disaster. Human colonists had fired on what they believed was a raiding party, only to discover too late that it was a diplomatic convoy. 3 species had lost their ambassadors that day, and no amount of explanation about mistaken identity or colonial desperation had mattered. As the council session dissolved, Helena found herself alone on the observation deck of the orbital station, staring out at the swirling nebula that served as the coalition's neutral territory. Her reflection in the transparistile showed a woman in her 40s, silver streaking her black hair, eyes hardened by years of failed negotiations. It doesn't have to end like this. Helena turned to find Marcus Chen approaching, his Martian colonial uniform crisp despite the circumstances. They had known each other for years, fellow humans trying to build bridges in an increasingly hostile galaxy. The decision is made, Marcus. We're pariahs now. No, he said firmly, pulling out a datapad. We're free. The device displayed shipping manifests, fleet positions, and resource allocations across human space. Helena's eyes widened as she processed the information. You've been planning this. 4 months. The moment I saw how the votes were trending, I started making calls. The outer colonies, the independent traders, the military contractors, they're all ready to rally behind Earth if we give them something to fight for. Helena studied the data more carefully. It wasn't just about human ships and stations. There were entries for Centaurian mining operations, vegan agricultural worlds, even some rogue Andromedan telepaths who had grown disillusioned with their empire's rigid hierarchy. You're talking about more than just human resistance. This is rebellion on a galactic scale. It's evolution, Marcus corrected. The coalition has grown fat and complacent. They rule through fear and economic pressure, but they haven't faced a real challenge in centuries. Half their member species are itching for change but too scared to act alone. Over the following months, Helena watched in amazement as Marcus's vision became reality. The first ships to join were human vessels, colony transports converted to carriers, mining ships refitted with weapons, and a surprising number of military deserters who brought their warships with them. But soon, alien vessels began appearing at the rallying points scattered throughout the galactic rim. The Corvan Syndicate, tired of coalition taxes on their trade routes, contributed their entire merchant fleet. The Epsilon Collective, mechanical beings who had been denied council membership for being artificial, offered their manufacturing capabilities. Most surprisingly, 3 entire Zephyrian hive clusters broke away from their homeworld's government, claiming their species had grown weak under coalition protection. Helena found herself aboard the flagship Defiance, a massive dreadnought that had once served as Earth's primary embassy ship. Now its diplomatic quarters housed war councils and strategic planning sessions. The irony wasn't lost on her, they were using the tools of peace to forge an empire of war. Status report, she called out as she entered the command center, her new title of Fleet Admiral still feeling strange on her tongue. 17 new systems have declared for us this week, reported Lieutenant Commander Sarah Kim, a former coalition intelligence officer who had defected with crucial strategic data. The Rigel sector is under our control, and we've established forward bases in the outer spiral.
Opposition? Moderat. The coalition is mobilizing, but they're moving slowly. Too much bureaucracy, too many committees.
By the time they decide on a response, we'll have consolidated our gains.
Helena nodded, studying the holographic display that showed their growing territory.
Green dots marked friendly systems, red showed coalition holdouts, and yellow indicated contested zones. The pattern was clear: they were creating a ring around coalition space, slowly tightening the noose. But this wasn't just about revenge for humanity's exile. As their empire grew, Helena saw something she had never witnessed in coalition space: cooperation born of choice rather than fear. Former enemies worked side by side on their ships. Humans shared technology with aliens who had been shooting at them just months earlier. The diversity of their alliance was becoming their greatest strength. "Ma'am," Kim continued, "we're also receiving signals from inside coalition space.
Underground movements on at least 6 member worlds are asking for our support." Helena smiled grimly. The coalition had made a critical error in their calculations. They had assumed that exiling humanity would eliminate a troublesome element and restore order. Instead, they had created a symbol of resistance, a rallying point for every species that had ever chafed under their rule. "Send word to all fleet commanders," Helena ordered. "Operation Homecoming begins in 3 days. It's time the galaxy learned that some exiles don't just disappear quietly into the dark." As the Defiance and her escort ships turned toward the heart of coalition space, Helena reflected on the journey that had brought them here. They had been cast out as criminals and pariahs, but in their exile, they had found something far more valuable than council membership. They had found freedom, and now they were ready to share it with the galaxy, whether the coalition wanted it or not. The age of human exile was ending. The age of the new empire had begun.